What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and it's time for me to do something I haven't done in a hot minute. It's my own game. Just ignore the fact that this doesn't say Boit. I would never smurf. Smurfing is something that I would never do. We're at like a 1900 level on this account. This player here has been anywhere from 1900 to 2K. This is high-level Age Mythology. That out of the way. Does Demeter suck? She just got nerfed. Well, she also got buffed as well. Let's just remember that. She also got buffed as well inside of a bunch of bonuses. So, for example, the pigs are fattening faster. I should have the patch notes open here and I should be able to tell you. But basically, I was thinking about this whole thing and I was going, look, I experimented way back when the werewolves were hot garbage, and everyone hated them because you had to pay a premium to be able to turn them back into villagers. I experimented with the wolves, and I came to the conclusion that if I could transform the wolves or the villagers or the wolves back to villagers without needing the upgrade, that they would be insanely powerful in certain situations. And guess what? This is one of those situations. And therefore, it's time to put theory crafting to the test. We are going to be going for a one town center Lacowan play. This is where I think the Lacowan is at its strongest. The other play where I think it might be worthwhile is in a two town center versus two town center sort of situation. Your opponent goes to TC, you go village center, Lacowan. This is gonna not only are you going to be in front of your opponent, but it's gonna keep you in front of your opponent in terms of income, because you're going to be able to get out that extra villager over what your opponent is able to do. Of course, it's more expensive and all that other good stuff, but we're not doing the village center play here. We're going to be doing a one town center play here versus Ashwaite's Odin. Alrighty, so. The plan and the reason and the thought process is Greek in general versus Norse cannot leave their base early game for hunt. That's a problem, right? I've got this hunt over here. It's juicy. I want to be on it. Let me go and eat it. But if I do this, then all of a sudden, the Norse player is just going to attack it. And I'm going to lose the fight, because the Norse player has the advantage early on. It's just the dynamic of the matchup. Normally, you have to sit in your base, eat your chickens, right? And then maybe move over here and eat your berries. And by that stage, you're going to have enough of an army that it's going to be scary for the Norse player to want to approach you. Plus, you're also going to have your base built up nice and safe and all the other good stuff. With the Lacowan, that changes everything. Now, if my opponent comes to attack me, I don't even need to have an army on my hunt to defend my villages. I've got werewolves. So that's the plan. We're going to be making a very early move out. We're going to be getting ourselves as many Lacowan as we possibly can. I've only got the one villager on... Don't ask me why these goats decided to go here. I've only got one villager on the temple. Next time I will make sure I did move him. Fantastic. I'm going to put one villager on the temple because obviously gold is at a premium. The Lacowan now only costs gold, so it is quite expensive. It's probably more expensive now than it used to be. I think it used to cost like 80 wood or something, and 100 gold, and now it's less resources total, but it's more resources in terms of gold. But it does mean I only need to put villagers onto gold. So now we move over onto the water buffalo, and we'll see. Well, basically, I'm just going to try and get myself a small amount of units out. The scary part here is if I get rushed by Herso, right? If he just charges him with Herso, which he definitely can do, I'm going to have some issues. So we've got to get some units out. So we will make a small amount of... We've got the heroes, and we've got the Hippias. Worst comes to worst, we use the villagers to fight back with these units, and we just make sure the Lacowan doesn't die to any Herso, and we're good to go. But yeah, we just keep on making Lacowan. We keep pumping villagers over onto gold. You can actually see this is a really, really small amount of villagers on wood. Because I am building the Lacowan, I can't afford a super large amount of of military buildings at the moment. So we slowly build up to it, basically, right? So where if I was Zeus, I might have closer to 45 population, 50 population right now. As Demeter, it's not the case. I've got well, 40 population at 6 minutes is pretty low, but I've also got what I would consider to be 3 population, 6 population of myth unit, coming up to even more very, very shortly. Okay, so I was trying to get some scouting in just to make sure I'm not playing against a 2TC. That would change everything if the Odin just decide to grab a 2TC here, a second town center here. I would have to consider a whole bunch of different options. I don't really know the map just yet, but I do have a Pegasus coming in to just see what's going on. If he does decide to go for a second town center as Demeter, I should be happy in this position to chase him and grab my own second town center. So I'd basically just grab these villages, pop them over onto this wood line, and then I would probably grab this or grab this, and then I'd also grab this technology here with the call count. Anyways, at this point, I go, all right, my base now needs to be fully defended, because if he charges in here, it's going to be awkward. I can run through this gate and get these villages to safety, but I'd rather just make it nice and protected. You can actually, I really like this temple on my main base here. You can build the wall into the temple, build the wall out here, and lock off everything with a very small amount of buildings. Of course, he can run around my base. If he goes very sneakily around here, around here, around here, he can hit my gold villages, but like, who's gonna do that? Come on. It's definitely a weakness in my base, but it's a very small weakness, and I do have a retreat path here where I can run through this way. And then he's stuck in my base, and I'm very happy to come and try and kill him. Anyways, here's the first little attack, and you can see all I do here with my villages is I just turn and attack, and you attack move, and then you grab the villages only and run. That's the secret. Now, I do have one very low HP villager here, and as soon as I get attacked, this is my cue to grab Divine Labor. Now, unfortunately, I did lose a villager here. This was probably a mistake. I probably should have ran that villager back home. It goes to show how good Ashwade is. He's got his... He's very much switched on to this. Gets a Vil pick, but take a look at the Vil diff. 31 to 27. And I'm playing Greek here versus Norse. That's unheard of. I mean, it should have been 32 to 27. It's unheard of to be this far in front in income. And look at the military diff as well. The military diff doesn't count the fact that I've got these Lakawan either. I think. I don't think it does. Maybe it does. Not sure. Not sure how it works. But anyways, I'm equal on military diff. And I'm in front on villages. So, in other words, I'm in a fantastic spot versus my opponent here. I can keep pumping out these Lakawan. The only real hard part here about the Lakawan is that I actually have to manually create these. You don't get to auto queue out Lakawan like you auto queue out villages. If I could do that, then I'd be laughing. No, it's not that hard to do this. It's the same thing as just building out myth units. You just take a look at your income, and whenever you see the villagers come up, you go for it. My opponent comes back in again. And at this point, now that I've got Divine Labor, take a look at this villager. He came in, he got some damage. He might come back and try and kill this guy off. Or will he? Bam, back up to 25 HP. Back up to 35 HP. Back up to 45 HP. Every single time he drops, every 15 seconds, he's back up extra HP. So every 15 seconds, he gets an extra 10 HP back. Are you kidding me? So, yeah, no, he can't raid me. So we are in a really, 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 really good spot now. In front on villages, getting upgrades in. Him with the Wildwood is another technology that I theory crafted to be really good inside of a classical fight. There was a little bug here. Don't ask me why. Don't understand. This Lakawan has decided he would prefer to not be able to get converted back into a villager. So that's a win for my opponent. Got a villager kill. But also, just like before, my theory crafting inside of the Lakawan before was, it doesn't matter if my Lakawan turns into a werewolf, right? and I can't turn him back because now he's just going to be in my army like every other myth unit. I love myth units, right? Anyways, I see these units here and I decide I will wander forward, attempt to get some kills. Unfortunately, unable to. I am still trying to grab this tech. It is expensive at... it's actually not that expensive at 150 gold. I think I'm just a bit short here. Anyways, I charge forward and he's going to come around and raid me. And this was the thing. I'm like, why? What am I scared of here? I'm not scared of anything. I just make my Lycaon in and we just literally can take these fights. The other thing is here as well, there's this other tech, this one here, survival equipment, which is somewhat of a must grab versus Norse, and it's going to completely dominate Norse players who are going to be wanting to raid because you can just attack, move with the villagers. You got the army. He comes in, takes the fight. This is an amazing fight for me. I am so far in front on military value. A little bit of Myrica with the Lycaon. The Lycaon does not move faster than the Hursar. It moves at the same speed as a Hursar, unless it's got Forseti upgrades or Loki upgrades. But it's fine. And we can get back to work. He did kill off... This one's still screwed. He did pick off a couple, and he did equalize on the villager count there. But look at the military diff. Like, he equalized... Kinda. I'm 2 villas in front. But he's behind. Which means I'm in front. So, I'm fine to trade villagers. I'm fine to trade Lycaon for military value here. That's so fine for me. At any rate, more upgrades to come through. I'm going to grab the Call of Lycaon now as I want to go for a attack. I've got 4 of these guys. After I get the military advantage after a fight, I can heal up with this Call of the Wildwood. We can go in and we can look for our attack. And it's off to the races now as this tech will come through. It's going to boost up my Lycaon by 25%. I did see the villagers over here, so I was kind of hoping to go and attack that. I also know that all the gold mines are forward here. You can see 1, 2, 3 gold mines there as the raiding cavalry coming in. And a little bit of a fight. Over onto this side. And we can just keep the cheeky little attack going. Got the raiding cavalry up onto the top. Just being a little bit annoying. I don't have any defense for this because I have one Lycaon over here, which actually is a defender. That came from my Call of Account. I wanted it to be attacking, but now I'm basically can just take any fight I want because look at the diff. It's like, is there ever a situation where you're this in front of a Norse player as Greek? I mean, the answer is just no. The Norse in Norse versus Greek, you're always in front as the Norse, unless you, of course, unless you make a mistake, of which course the Ashwait, he took a fight, he lost the fight, but I was in front on that fight anyways. So now we charge in. You'll note that I did actively decide not to build Toxotes at the start here. I did throw some archery rangers down now. I was going to go into them afterwards, but I don't need Toxotes versus Norse. The only unit that I need Toxotes versus is potentially the Herdman, but Hoplites also do fine versus the Herdman. Lycaon do fine versus the Herdman. It's just the Hippias that doesn't, and we do end up getting the dub. So there you go. This is a strat that I think, if executed really well, is going to be a really, really nice answer to any situation where you've got to play one town center game. There's going to be situations where playing a one town center game is simply not the right call. So let's talk about where this strategy is going to be an idea. Now, I think this is also a really good strat for low-level players to work on their macro. This is going to be one of my, this is almost like a beginner's guide type thing. This is how do I learn to play the game? Well, do this strat, spend your resources. Don't have 1,000 wood like me in the bank. Spend your resources, play, get an army out and go and win. That's the starting point. So which civs do you want to do this versus? Well, versus Norse, fantastic. You want to do this versus Norse. Against Loki, it's a little scary because he's got mass Hursar ideas. So you do have to be a little careful. But guess what? just put the Lycaon on herdables. It's fine to eat them. Put them on herdables, build yourself your Hippias out, play defensive, and if he does decide to go full Hersa, then just don't go for the attack with the Lycaon. Use them as villagers in your main base, and just wait until your economy takes you into an advantage, right? Against Odin, of course, fantastic. Against Thor, of course, fantastic. Though Thor also has the mass Hersa idea, so similar to Loki. Against Freyr, of course, fantastic. Maybe even better than Odin, because the Freyr player really doesn't want to build Hersa. Probably going to go for Ulla and then not have the Sesrumnir tech for those Hersa to help out once you go and kill him. Of course, he does have the Gullen Bursty, but you can run from that. And you do have the defense of the Gullen Bursty with Arcadian Meadow. Against the Atlanteans, I think this can work, but it's probably not my go-to strat. Problem against Atlanteans is they'll come and attack you, right? With their Murmillo or their Turmoil or whatever. And they'll pop the Lycaon. And then they'll go, oh, there's Lycaon there. They'll run, heroize out of line of sight, come back in, and now you're like, I'm sad. So you have a bit of an unfortunate time there against the Atlanteans. I'd recommend playing a two town center game anyways, a village center type game versus the Atlanteans there. Against the Egyptians, this could be really, really good versus the Egyptians. Really good. Maybe a 2TC Lycaon play could be really good, because the Egyptians, they're not going to be able to raid you with their priests. It's just not going to happen. So you got free reign to be out, and if there do happen to be priests raiding you, guess what? Just run. You got 4.8 speed Lycaon. Like what's going to happen there? So yeah, this could work really nicely versus the Egyptians. It really does angle into a big power spike at like 9 to 10 minutes. If the Egyptian player goes for a fast heroic, we go fantastic. Let's go and kill him when they get to the heroic age and break their second gold mine where they try and put their Migdol down. Makes sense. Against the Chinese, again, Nuwa, Shenong, makes perfect sense to do it versus these guys because they can't really raid with the Pioneers. Plus, we also want to go for Hippias anyways early on. So if he does decide to charge at you with Pioneers, you can just go, lol, let's kill those off with the Hippias. But if he does decide to raid you with things like White Horse Cav, we're laughing, right? So it's going to get you in front of these players. Chinese players might go for 2 TCs, so then you're looking for some sort of a timing attack, but it's going to be much later than like normal because you're spending so much on the account. They're paying themselves off. Takes probably, I would say, about, I don't know, 5-ish, maybe not 5 minutes, maybe like 3-ish minutes for the account to 2.5 minutes for the account to actually pay itself off before you're in the clear there. So it's not that much. Against Fuxia, I'd be scared because he's got the Nijar. It's going to kill off your Lycaon very easily, and it's a good raider. Against Japan, I think this might be good versus Japan, especially Tsukiyomi, who wants to go for those Naginata riders and raid you into the ground. All of a sudden, you're like, well, you can't raid my main base because I built that very, very nice defensive base. All he's going to be able to do is attack your food, your hunt, which is down in the middle of the map. He's like, I want to kill it. And you've got Lycaon there. He's not going to be able to. So it makes sense versus Tsukiyomi. I think it makes sense versus Susanoo as well, similar. And potentially also versus Amaterasu. We're not even looking to really take fights here either, right? We're just trying to play defensive. If he wants to force a fight, a bad fight, that's fine. We're going to be able to defend. And against the Aztecs, I'm not sure yet. Warrior Priests are pretty good raiders. They're very quick. They don't have a negative. You can't like build like a pacifist or something to beat them. It's kind of similar to the Hersa. You don't have a pacifist. So you can kind of go into Hippias and block the raids, but I would maybe stay away from the Lycaon versus these guys. Just on that fact, probably better to do something else. Though you could probably approach it similar to how you would approach the Loki sort of matchup and go for like the Lycaon in your main base. If you got a lot of herdables, grab that tech, Divine Labor early on, jump onto the herdables after the chickens are eaten, and then live the dream inside of your main base with a massive amount of food income for a whole bunch of hoplites and Hippias. You don't really need Toxotes. You could go Toxotes actually against the Aztecs, but you might be better to do a village center type thing versus the Aztecs, and then maybe into Lycaon if he goes for 2 TC type ideas. Anyways, that's my thought process. That's my theory crafting. I'm trying to get you guys to give this god a real good hard shot and tell me how you go with it. I think that Demeter. I thought that Demeter got nerfed. I think she did get nerfed, but I think that there is power inside of this strategy that has been hidden dormant for quite some time, and it's just up to unlocking it, and it's going to be really really fun to play. And if you can have a good time inside of this strategy, then guess what? You get to have real lots of value inside of Hestia, a lot of value inside of Persephone, and you can find yourself the wins there. Now, of course, once you do get to Hestia, make sure you build those trees. They're amazing. Once you get to Persephone, make sure you're dropping that underworld passage. Oh, sorry, not underworld passage, that underworld invasion really early. So you've already fought, right? You're playing a one talents into game. You've already killed off around 100 plus units and lost 100 plus units. So you're going to get a massive underworld invasion. If you're at 100 villages, you have no excuses to not click that god back. Click it early. Enjoy the economy to get your upgrades while the underworld invasion is happening. Rebuild your town centers and then go win the game. If you guys enjoyed this one, make sure you hit the follow on Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.